Have you ever encountered a person and felt an unexplainable sense of knowing? A recognition that extends beyond rational thought? Your eyes met and it seemed as if time itself had paused. Your heart quickened, as if it had discovered a missing piece of its own essence it never knew was gone. But there is an issue. She is married or he has an established family. And now you ask yourself, how can the universe be so unkind? Why awaken within you the conviction that you have found your twin flame precisely when they are unavailable? Are you fabricating things, or is there a greater design behind this seemingly impossible scenario? Carl Jung offered an answer to this question, and it may be the most transformative one you have ever heard regarding soul connections. In this presentation, you will discover why your twin flame might be with another person in this lifetime, and more importantly, what the true spiritual purpose is behind this encounter that appears destined for suffering. Prepare yourself, because what I'm about to share could completely alter your view on love, destiny, and spiritual development. And if you remain until the conclusion, you will grasp why this situation, however agonizing it may be, could be precisely what your soul requires most to evolve. Before we delve into the intricacy of a committed twin flame, we must understand what this concept genuinely signifies through the lens of Carl Jung. The internet is filled with romantic notions about twin flames that tend to confuse more than they enlighten. Carl Jung did not use the exact phrase twin flame, but his research on synchronicity, individuation, and the collective unconscious offers the most solid scientific basis for comprehending these extraordinary bonds. For Carl Jung, certain individuals enter our lives not by coincidence, but as a component of an archetypal process of psychological wholeness. The twin flame, from a Jungian viewpoint, is the individual who carries the perfect projection of your anima or animus, the internal counterpart of the opposite gender that resides within each of us. This is why the recognition is so immediate and powerful. You are not merely falling in love with a person, you are recognizing a fundamental part of yourself mirrored in the other. But here is the vital point that most people fail to grasp. Twin flames do not always appear to create traditional relationships. They come to catalyze profound transformations, awaken dormant aspects of the psyche, and hasten the process of individuation, the journey toward becoming truly who you are. Carl Jung observed that the most transformative connections in our lives often arrive with apparent impossibilities. It is as if the universe sets up specific hurdles to compel us to grow in ways we could not in comfortable circumstances. When your twin flame is married or committed, this is not a cosmic error. It is a flawless design for a particular kind of spiritual development. You have been called not just to love, but to transcend possessive love and uncover higher forms of human connection. The pain you experience is not proof that something is amiss. It is proof that something profoundly correct is unfolding at a level your conscious mind cannot yet fully grasp. If you are questioning why the universe would permit you to find your twin flame in an impossible situation, Carl Jung had a revolutionary perspective on this. He believed the psyche possesses its own intelligence and orchestrates specific encounters to teach us lessons we could not learn in any other manner. Consider the spiritual alchemy that Carl Jung studied intensely. The alchemical process does not aim to create easy gold. It requires substances to undergo extreme heat, pressure, and painful transformations so that something genuinely valuable can emerge. The encounter with an unavailable twin flame is precisely this type of alchemical process. The apparent cruelty serves distinct purposes. First, it shatters your illusions about how love should function. It forces you to question whether you truly comprehend what unconditional love is. Second, it stops you from hiding in a relational comfort zone, pushing you into unfamiliar territories of personal growth. Carl Jung observed that the greatest psychological transformations occur when we are forced to face irreconcilable paradoxes. The love you feel for your married twin flame is one of these paradoxes. You love genuinely but cannot possess. You connect deeply but must keep a distance. You recognize your destiny but must embrace divine timing. This tension between desire and impossibility generates what Carl Jung called the transcendent function, the psychological capacity to hold opposites in balance until a third possibility appears. In the case of twin flames, this third possibility is often a form of love that transcends ego limitations and societal expectations. The universe is not cruel, it is surgical. This situation was designed specifically to heal parts of you that could not be healed under conventional conditions. Perhaps you need to learn to love without possessing, or to find inner wholeness without relying on external validation, or to cultivate a deep faith in divine timing even when your human mind cries out for control. The person your twin flame is married to is not an innocent victim or an inconvenient obstacle. She is part of the same spiritual design. Everyone involved in this dynamic has specific lessons to learn, soul contracts to fulfill, and growth to undergo. Even when your twin flame is committed to another, the connection between you cannot be entirely concealed. There are specific signs Carl Jung would recognize as evidence of true soul synchronicity. But be cautious, it is vital to differentiate between a genuine connection and wishful projection. The first sign is what Carl Jung would term archetypal recognition. When you meet, there is a familiarity that surpasses logic. It is not just physical attraction or mental compatibility. It is as if you have known each other for lifetimes. She might comment on something and you complete the sentence, or you might have synchronized experiences, dreaming of each other on the same night or thinking of the other at the precise moment they appear. The second sign is the mutual capacity to see beyond social masks, directly to each other's core. Carl Jung called this seeing beyond the persona. Even in a brief encounter, you manage to perceive aspects of each other's personality that typically stay hidden. It is as if natural psychological defenses automatically lower. Another crucial indicator is the catalytic effect you have on each other. After meeting your twin flame, even though she is committed, you likely noticed significant changes in your life. Perhaps you began questioning old beliefs, pursuing spiritual growth, or making changes you had been delaying for years. Her presence in your life, even from a distance, acts as a catalyst for your evolution. There is also the phenomenon we could call silent, energetic communication. You can perceive each other's emotional state without physical contact. You might intuitively know when she is facing difficulties, or she might contact you precisely when you most need some form of sign or validation. But here's a sign many people overlook: mutual respect for existing commitments. If she is truly your twin flame and you are spiritually aligned, there will be a tacit understanding that both of your growth is more important than the immediate gratification of desires. She will not impulsively break her commitments, nor will you pressure her to do so. A true connection also manifests through what Carl Jung called controlled inflation. You feel inspired and elevated by the connection, but do not lose your sense of reality. There is a transcendent quality to the interaction that makes you feel more connected to the divine, to purpose, to life in general. Carl Jung deeply believed that there are no accidental encounters, especially those that provoke profound transformations in our lives. The encounter with your married twin flame has specific spiritual purposes that extend far beyond conventional romance. The first purpose is what Carl Jung would call accelerated individuation. The emotional tension created by this situation forces you to develop aspects of your personality that might otherwise remain dormant. You learn to handle unconditional love, conscious detachment, faith without assurances, and divine patience, all qualities essential for spiritual maturity. The second purpose is the healing of karmic patterns related to possessive love. Many souls come into this life carrying unconscious memories of relationships where love turned into control, jealousy, or emotional dependency. Loving your twin flame from a distance and respecting her commitments is a way to purify these ancient dynamics and learn higher forms of loving. There is also the purpose of developing what Carl Jung called conscious love. Most relationships function on autopilot, driven by unconscious needs, projections, and repetitive family patterns. When you love someone you cannot have, you are forced to consciously scrutinize every feeling, every motive, every desire. This cultivates a purer and less neurotic quality of love. The encounter also serves to activate what we might call a spiritual service capacity. When you experience this type of transcendent love, even if it is one-sided, you develop a deeper understanding of human connections that can be used to assist others. Many people who have undergone this experience become counselors, therapists, or simply wiser friends. Carl Jung observed that certain painful experiences serve to prepare us for greater spiritual responsibilities. Perhaps you are being prepared for future work that requires a deep understanding of unconditional love, or for a future relationship that will be richer and more mature because of what you have learned through this experience. There is also the purpose of awakening your connection to the divine. When human love reaches its limits, when you love deeply but cannot possess, you are naturally driven to seek more transcendent sources of satisfaction and meaning. Many people discover their true spirituality through these experiences of impossible love. Finally, there is the purpose of modeling a different type of love for the world. Your ability to love without possessing, to respect the other's autonomy, and to find joy in their happiness even when it does not include you, is a rare example of emotional maturity that can inspire other people. The emotional reality of loving your married twin flame is like living on a daily spiritual roller coaster. Carl Jung understood that certain psychological experiences are so intense they demand specific management strategies to prevent them from becoming destructive. The first strategy is what Carl Jung would call the conscious acceptance of the paradox. Instead of battling the reality of the situation, you must embrace it completely. Yes, you found your twin flame. Yes, she is married. Both truths can coexist without one negating the other. Mental resistance to this reality only intensifies suffering. The second principle is distinguishing between feeling and acting on those feelings. Carl Jung stressed the importance of fully experiencing our emotions without necessarily letting them dictate our behavior. You can feel longing, passion, sadness, and hope. All these emotions are valid and should be honored. But that does not mean you should act to try to alter her situation. A powerful technique is what Carl Jung called a dialogue with the unconscious. Write letters to your twin flame that you will never send. Express everything you feel without filters. Then, write responses as if you were her, trying to channel her perspective. This process helps integrate different aspects of the situation and fosters a more mature understanding of the dynamic. Carl Jung would also recommend working with dreams during this period. People in twin flame situations often have very meaningful dreams that offer guidance on how to navigate the situation. Keep a dream journal and pay close attention to those involving your twin flame or related symbols. It is crucial to develop what Carl Jung called emotional continence, the ability to contain intense feelings without exploding or repressing them. This means creating healthy rituals to process your emotions, meditation, physical exercise, artistic expression, or time in nature. Your emotional energy needs constructive outlets. Another essential strategy is maintaining healthy social connections. The tendency when living this type of love is to isolate yourself, nurturing fantasies and dramatizing the situation. Carl Jung insisted on the importance of maintaining balanced relationships with other people. They help you keep perspective and not lose touch with consensual reality. Also, practice what Carl Jung would call conscious presence. When in her company, instead of getting lost in romantic fantasies or analyzing every gesture, simply be present. Appreciate the chance to be near this special energy without trying to transform it into something it is not. Finally, develop a spiritual practice that connects you with something greater than this specific situation. This could be meditation, prayer, philosophical study, or volunteer work, any activity that reminds you that you are part of something much larger than your personal drama. Carl Jung observed that the greatest opportunities for psychological growth often come disguised as the greatest emotional difficulties. The situation of loving your married twin flame is one of these disguised opportunities, a chance to develop spiritual qualities that are rare in current humanity. The first required growth is developing detached love. Most people confuse love with possession, passion with need, and connection with dependence. In this situation, you are forced to purify your concept of love. You must learn to truly love, to desire the other's happiness even when it does not involve you. This is not resignation, it is a much higher form of love. The second growth is developing divine patience, the ability to trust the universe's timing even when it contradicts your personal desires. Carl Jung believed certain lessons can only be learned through conscious waiting. You are learning that some things cannot be forced, controlled, or manipulated, however intense your will may be. There is also the growth of emotional integrity. In a situation where it would be easy to justify questionable behaviors like trying to seduce a married person, creating dramas to force changes, or emotional manipulation, you are called to uphold your highest values. This strengthens your character in ways other situations could not. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of developing what he called the transcendent function, the ability to hold psychological tensions without resolving them prematurely. In this situation, you learn to live with ambiguity, uncertainty, and paradoxes. This is an advanced psychological capacity that benefits all areas of life. Another crucial growth is the ability to find meaning in suffering. Carl Jung believed that conscious suffering, accepted and integrated rather than avoided, is transformative. You are learning that not all pain needs to be immediately eliminated, that some pains carry precious spiritual gifts that can only be accessed through complete experience. There is also the development of universal compassion. When you go through this type of situation, you develop a deep understanding of the complexity of human relationships. You stop judging people in love triangles who make seemingly wrong choices or who live complicated lives. This expanded compassion is a gift that serves the world. The growth of emotional self-sufficiency is another fundamental aspect. You learn that your happiness cannot depend on specific external circumstances. Even while deeply loving your twin flame, you must develop an inner source of satisfaction and purpose that is independent of the relational situation. Finally, there is the growth of spiritual faith, the conviction that a higher intelligence is operating in your life, even when you cannot understand the complete plan. This faith is not naivety. It is wisdom developed through the direct experience of synchronicities and meanings that transcend common logic. The question that persists is there a real possibility of union with your married twin flame? Carl Jung would say this question is incorrectly framed. The question is not when or how, but whether you will be prepared to recognize and embrace any possibility the universe presents. The first Jungian principle about divine timing is that it never operates according to human schedules. If a union is destined to occur, it will happen when both people are spiritually prepared to sustain that level of connection. This could be months, years, decades, or even never in this lifetime, and all these possibilities are equally valid from a spiritual viewpoint. Carl Jung observed that forcing synchronicities is impossible. They arise when there is an alignment between personal consciousness and the universal flow. In the context of twin flames, this means a union can only happen when both people have sufficiently completed their individuation process to sustain a mature relationship. If she is married, there are lessons she needs to learn in that current situation. This might be about commitment, honoring soul contracts, or developing specific aspects of her personality that only emerge in this relational context. Trying to interfere in this process is like trying to hasten the ripening of fruit. You might succeed in removing it from the tree, but it will not be sweet. Your correct role during this waiting period is to focus completely on your own growth. Carl Jung emphasized that we can only attract what we energetically vibrate with. If you want a mature and spiritual union with your twin flame, you must first become someone capable of sustaining that type of relationship. This means healing your own problematic relational patterns, developing your career, your talents, and your unique contribution to the world. It means learning to be happy alone, to find purpose independent of romantic validation, and cultivating qualities like patience, compassion, wisdom, and faith. Carl Jung believed that when two people are truly ready to unite, the universe removes obstacles naturally. This can happen in surprising ways, with changes neither could have predicted or planned. But trying to force these changes through manipulation or pressure usually results in more complications. If a separation happens naturally in her marriage, it is crucial that it is not because of your pressure. She needs to reach her own conclusions about what is best for her life. Your function is simply to be available emotionally and spiritually for any possibility that might arise. But here is a truth Carl Jung would insist on highlighting. Physical union might not be the final goal. Some twin flames come to teach about transcendent forms of love that do not require conventional relationships. The spiritual connection between you might be more powerful and transformative at a distance than it would be in a premature physical union. The definitive test is your ability to genuinely desire her happiness, even if she chooses to remain married. If you can love without possessing, support without controlling, and find joy in her joy regardless of where it comes from, then you have developed the type of love twin flames are destined to teach. Regardless of how your specific situation resolves, Carl Jung would say that the experience of loving your married twin flame has already transformed you irreversibly. You are no longer the same person you were before this encounter, and this transformation, not physical union, might be the true gift this experience came to bring. The first transformation is the expansion of your capacity to love. You have discovered it is possible to feel a love so deep that it does not need possession to exist. This frees you from neurotic patterns in all your future relationships. You will no longer confuse love with control or passion with emotional dependence. The second transformation is developing a more mature relationship with suffering. Carl Jung observed that the ability to find meaning in pain is one of the marks of psychological evolution. You have learned that not all suffering is useless, that some pains carry precious spiritual gifts. There is also the transformation of your relationship with time and control. You have experienced directly that some of life's most important things cannot be forced or controlled. This develops a quality of surrender and trust that serves all areas of your experience. Carl Jung emphasized that archetypal experiences leave permanent marks on the psyche. The encounter with your twin flame has activated aspects of your personality that will remain awakened forever. You now have access to levels of sensitivity, intuition, and spiritual understanding you did not possess before. The transformation also includes a deeper connection to your life mission. Many people report that after the twin flame encounter, even when unavailable, clarity emerges about their purpose, career, and unique contribution to the world. It is as if the experience awakens them to aspects of themselves that were dormant. There is a quality of spiritual initiation in this experience. You have passed through an emotional trial by fire, and emerged with expanded capacities. This often leads to a sense of spiritual responsibility, the perception that you have something unique to offer based on what you have learned. The final transformation is perhaps the most important, the ability to recognize and honor sacred connections wherever they appear. You will no longer be someone who goes through life inattentive to synchronicities, meaningful encounters, or growth opportunities disguised as difficulties. This experience has taught you that true love is greater than circumstances, more powerful than obstacles, and more permanent than physical relationships. This knowledge is not theoretical. You have experienced it directly, and that changes everything about how you relate to the world. If you have made it this far, you have already understood that the encounter with your married twin flame was not a cruel accident of fate. It was an invitation to a form of spiritual evolution that few humans have the courage or opportunity to experience. Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding how the psyche operates through paradoxes and apparent impossibilities. These events we resist the most are often those we most need for growth. The situation you are living is not a mistake to be corrected, but a mystery to be embraced. Your twin flame might be married in this life because you both need to learn specific lessons that are only possible in this configuration. She might be learning about commitment, honoring promises, or developing specific aspects of herself that only emerge in her current relationship. You are learning about unconditional love, divine patience, and faith without guarantees. The universe never wastes experiences. Every moment of pain you have felt, every night you have questioned its meaning, every day you have chosen to love without possessing. All of this is building qualities in you that will serve you forever. You are becoming someone capable of loving in purer, freer, and more transcendent ways. Perhaps physical union will happen at the right time, or perhaps not. But the spiritual union that already exists between you is permanent and cannot be broken by external circumstances. This connection goes beyond this life, beyond this time, beyond these apparent limitations. What matters is not whether you will get your twin flame. What matters is who you are becoming through this experience. And the person you are becoming, wiser, more compassionate, more spiritually mature, is someone worthy of any love the universe wishes to bring. Carl Jung reminded us that life's goal is not happiness but meaning, and the meaning you are extracting from this seemingly impossible experience is a treasure no one can take from you. You have discovered you are capable of loving beyond ego limitations. That is an extraordinary spiritual achievement. Trust the process, honor the connection, respect divine timing, and keep growing toward the person this experience is calling you to become. Because in the end, perhaps that is the true union your soul has always sought, not with another person, but with your own higher nature.